Hi everyone, this is Why You Merch, and today I will show you this elementary level Latin textbook called Minimus, starting out in Latin. This is Minimus. He's a mouse. It's a pun because mus means mouse in Latin. And this is intended for 7 to 10-year-olds. So, the later years of elementary school, I guess. It says here that it's for teaching the Latin language and the culture of Roman Britain. I think this would be a great textbook to use before transitioning over to the Cambridge Latin course, since it sort of has a similar style. Let me adjust the lights so we can see it a little better. Okay, that didn't really help, but you know. So we can actually read some Latin, some very simple Latin. It's intended for you to be able to pick it up through just looking at the pictures, and if you really need help, they have glosses here to translate it for you, just a little bit. It's sort of what they call the direct method, where they just give you the straight up Latin without translating it underneath, so that you can think about it yourself, and that's the way you would learn it. So it says here, I guess the title of this is Who Are You? We have Minimus sum, mus sum. I am Minimus. I am a mouse. Quis es lepidina sum, mater sum, which means, who are you? I am Lepidina. I am a mother. This is kind of hard to hold this book in the position that I'm holding it right now. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let me just focus the camera. We got Quis es Flavius sum, pater sum. Who are you? I am Flavius. I am a father. Quis es Flavia sum, filia sum. It says, who are you? I am Flavia. I am a daughter. And at this point, you should know what quis es means, because the point is that it repeats. And you will start to see a pattern, you'll see some sort of structure, and you can kind of figure it out through context. So, let's see if you can do this one yourself. Quis es Julius sum, filius sum. Now we said here that Flavia is a daughter, filia, so a similar word to that would be filius. That means that Julius is a son. This one says, Quis es Rufus sum, infans sum. Who are you? I am Rufus. I am a baby. I don't think he really looks much like a baby. This is an interesting one. You're never going to see this in a modern language textbook, I think. So now we have a new phrase, Qui estis, candidus sum, Corinthus sum, servi sumus, which means, who are you? And you in this would be plural, because Minimus is talking to two people. So you have Candidus, he's saying, I'm Candidus, and I am Corinthus. They're saying, we are slaves. And Vindolandae sumus, which means, we are at Vindolanda, which is a place in Roman-era Britain. And, what is it now? Sumus here means we are. And then, of course, Quis es vibrisa sum, veles sum. Who are you? I am vibrisa, which means whiskers. I am a cat. Mus exit. means the mouse leaves. So that is a very introductory story right there. Very easy to understand, I think. And if you really have any trouble understanding these, of course it will help you by giving you the glosses. So I actually received this book from my friend who is a teacher. She's a Latin teacher. And she received this from a friend who's a Latin teacher. So I guess this is going to be passed down. This isn't like a vintage one though. This is like pretty recent, I think. So you can see they have very short chapters. This is the second one. It's only been a few pages. Then we already have some grammar lessons here. I guess here they're talking about nouns. And I think it's starting to talk about adjectives too. Here we have a little bit of etymology. This is kind of relevant to me because I just finished taking a class on Latin and Greek roots. So here we go. Let's do this one. In these sentences, the words which are underlined all come from Latin. Some of them may be new to you. Write down the Latin word that each of the underlined English words comes from. Then write down what you think these words mean. To help answer the questions, look back at the words on page 10. So, I'm sure I can probably figure this out without doing all that. So, question 1, what animal does pork come from? It comes from porcus, which means pig. What would an equestrian statue look like? Equestrian comes from equus, which means horse, so it likely has a horse in somewhere in the statue. If you scored the maximum points in a test, would you be happy? Well, I certainly would be, because maximum comes from maximus, which means greatest, largest, If you put minimal effort into your work, would your teacher be pleased with you? I don't think so, because minimal means very small amount of effort here, in this case. So, I mean, unless you're me, because I have put very minimal effort in my work, and somehow my teachers seem to be pleased with it. I would say that this textbook definitely has the same sort of vibe to it that other Latin textbooks, like for older children, would be, like Cambridge Latin Course or Ecce Romani, because they have this sort of like humorous approach that they go for with the stories and anything you have to translate and all that. Whereas like the old-fashioned ones seem to be very serious. They really want you to just like learn it in a very like not fun way. But I see that this seems to be something that more recent textbooks are doing, that they're trying to be funny and entertaining while they're teaching a very old language. I think that will stick better. Oh, this is like, that's interesting. So we're just going to flip through and see if I can find something else that I could show you. So, like, I don't know if you've seen my other video on a elementary level textbook. It was called Latin is Fun. And that one was a little bit older. I think it was from the late 80s to early 90s. So that one probably has this sort of humor aspect to it, but definitely I would say it's more serious. Not as serious as, say, like a high school or college level textbook, but still serious. So this is like very, very centered on Roman era Britain. This makes sense because it is from, like, the Cambridge group of Latin textbooks. I'm not sure if this is actually supposed to be part of the Cambridge Latin course or if this was just if this just happened to be published by the same people, but you know. Oh my gosh, this is like I feel like this entire book and maybe the second book of Cambridge Latin course, if you guys know what that is, they might go hand in hand. There's always got to be that one chapter where the Romans always say, like, we're the best. But that happened in the first book for the CLC. This is interesting. This is like, what have the Romans ever done for us? That kind of thing. So it says here, Flavia is trying to prove to Candidos that life is better now that the Romans rule Britain. And it says here, Tesserai pulchrae sunt, ita vero, which means the mosaics are beautiful. Yes. And, oh, look, I'm already translating it. Et vitae Romanae directae sunt, ita vero. And the Roman roads are straight. Yes. Et villae Romanae commodae sunt, ita vero. Which means, and the Roman houses are comfortable. Yes. Et nunc nobiscum habitas, ita vero. And now you live with us. Yes. Oh. Still feel bad for Candidus though, because he's a slave. I love that these chapters are like color-coded at the top. I just love the aesthetic of this textbook. Kind of reminds me of like comics. Oh my gosh, I can't. That is so cute. Oh, Rufus. Quid est? Galea est. Rufe noli tangere. What is it? It's a helmet. Rufus, don't touch it. That's exactly what I looked like when I went to a Latin convention and I put on a helmet. I'm so small. So, like, the helmet didn't fit on me and I just looked like, I looked like this. Quid est? Gladius est. Rufe noli tangere. Yo, the baby's ready to stab. Means, what is it? It's a sword. Rufus, don't touch it. You see there's a pattern going on, right? There's like this repetitive thing that's going. Helps it stick into your brain a little better. Quid est? Pilum est. Rufe noli tangere. What is it? It's a spear. Rufus, don't touch it. Oh, I love this one. This is really funny. Quid est? Scutum est. Rufe cave scutum maximum est. What is it? It's a shield. Rufus, beware, or be careful. It's a very large shield. Oh man, I had to put on one of these too. Quid est? Lorica est. Rufe siste lorica maxima est. Which means, what is it? It's a breastplate. Rufus, stop. The breastplate is very large. I didn't put it on like that though. When I put it on, I realized how heavy that thing is. It is made of metal. Oh no, the baby. You're never gonna see this in a modern language textbook, I'd say. Quid est? Pugio est. Rufe relinque periculosus est. Which means, what is it? It's a dagger. Rufus, leave it. It's dangerous. Ecce, behold. Oh, Rufus hurt his hand. So it says Flavius and Julius go back outside to watch the soldiers training. Nunc Rufus laetus est. Candidus has made Rufus a wooden sword. That seems pretty reasonable. Ah, just like they do like for gladiators. I'm sorry, just out of context, this caught me off guard. What's a tortoise? Oh, got Minnie Mouse here. Just fell over. Have it on display. I see that this chapter seems to be about, what's it called again? About imperatives, commands. That makes sense. They always tend to do that. They do the command chapters with, like, the army. It's the easiest way to get to commands in, like, Latin. I really like this, like, crayon or colored pencil style, like with the backgrounds. Ah, it's the bathhouse. My favorite chapter. And of course, you have the... Oh boy, that's the medical tools. And this is the first book of its kind. I think there is more to this, because it does say it's starting out in Latin, although that could just be referring to the fact that this is supposed to be an introduction to Latin. I don't think it goes very far with the grammar. Oh boy. Is this a funeral going on? Oh my gosh. That's weird. Pyramus and Thisbe. There we go. Let's see if there's anything that's a long passage I could read. I highly doubt there's going to be a long passage because, it's a very, very long passage, but I kind of wish it was in Latin. As you can see, this is a very short book. Oh, look at that. You could get a cassette tape. I guess that kind of shows a little bit of how old this is. This isn't, like, too old, but it isn't too recent either. This is a very cute book, and if there's any more in this series, because I know there is actually, there is, like, the preschoolers version of this. It's called Minimusculus, which means little Minimus, so, like, an even smaller Minimus, imagine that. It just has, like, a little bit of Latin in it, just very, very basic stuff. Doesn't really get into grammar too much, I'm pretty sure, because it is supposed to be for preschoolers. I would like to get my hands on that book, but I don't have it, so unfortunately I won't be able to do that right now. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you felt relaxed, and I will see you